Hey friends, Alan Lee here with the Handyman Journey, and today I want to talk about something that I think is pretty interesting, and that is Profit First and how I am applying Profit First methodology to my business as a handyman. Okay, now there's a lot of handyman out there. One thing that you absolutely need to know is your numbers. It's very important to know your numbers, to know what you need to charge so that you can make some money. But one of the biggest things, I've been reading Mike Michalowicz, Profit First. If you haven't checked that out, I will put a link in the description below where you can find that. I would absolutely recommend that book. That's where this whole thought and mentality comes from, is that book there. So the biggest thing is you have to know your numbers so that you are profitable in business. But one thing that he talks about is that the majority of small businesses are living paycheck to paycheck. And they're just, even though they're making good money, they just end up not having it at the end of the month, right? Have you ever filed your taxes or been at the end of the year and your accountant's like, oh, you made money this year, you got a profit of blah, blah, blah. And you're like, where did that money go? I've had that thought before, and this whole methodology of Profit First actually helps get rid of that thought. So you can actually know where the heck your money's going every single month, every single paycheck, every single week, which is pretty cool. So the thing that Mike Michalowicz boasts about is that once you start implementing this Profit First methodology, you're gonna start making a profit in your business from day one, which is quite interesting, right? Some people might be like, well, my business is profitable. I've reinvested all of my profit into my business. And that's really the excuse that I've done for many years now, is that I've just reinvested all my profit into my business. Well, it's interesting that we're taking a big risk starting this business of any kind, right? And we should be actually compensated for that. And Profit First is a way to help you do that, to make sure that you manage your money correctly so that at the end of the month, there's not only money to pay for your expenses, but there's also money to pay you. There's also a profit for you to share in. There's also taxes being saved. And in the methodology that I created is there's also a tithe account that's being created for the missionary arm of my business. So I kind of wanted to share that and how I have structured that and how I'm implementing it here in 2023. So breaking it down, we went to the bank and we created 5 bank accounts, okay? These are business bank accounts. We have an income bank account, we have an OPEX bank account, we have a profit bank account, we have a tax bank account, and we have a tithe bank account. The tithe one is one that's not really talked about in Mike Michalowicz's book, but it's something that our business is, pretty passionate about, is giving back to charity, giving back to God, and investing that way. So we went ahead and created a tithe account. I wanted to share with you guys how we break that down and how we do it. So we actually do a distribution to all these different accounts, minus the income account. That's just an income account. We'll get into that here in a second. So we do a distribution to all these accounts on the 10th and the 25th of each month. That's just what Mike recommends, so that's what we're going for. And it's still January right now, so we actually just made our first distribution yesterday. So we're getting into this. I'm actually really excited because what this has to show for it is pretty exciting for coming into the end of the year. That'll be pretty cool. So the first things first, everything that comes into your business needs to be deposited into the income account. That's just like normal, right? Every paycheck you get from a client, every direct deposit, things like that, those need to go into your income account. All the money gets put into your income account, and then every 10th and 25th, you need to completely drain your income account. Now, one thing that he recommends is go to your bank and basically ask them if they can get rid of the low balance fees of your bank, right? Every bank has some sort of fee. They say, hey, you need to keep $500 or $200 or $5 in your account, or we're going to charge you a fee. He basically tells you to go to your bank and basically demand that they get rid of that, right? So that you can completely drain your account to zero and you don't get charged for it. Now, in the real world, that's really hard to do unless you have the flexibility of kind of going with a small credit union or things like that. We're with a big bank. We've been with them for years. We have an LLC that's comprised of me and my wife. So every time we want to create a new account, change accounts, whatever, we need to load all the kids in the car, drive them down to the bank, and sit there for 3 hours. So what we ended up doing is, we couldn't get those fees waived, so we basically made $1,000 minimum in all of our accounts. So I think the minimum is we have to have $500 in there at the end of each day, or we get charged. I just made $1,000 as our new zero, basically, in each account. So that way we will never even get close to that $500, that $500 limit. If we're doing things correctly. So each 10th and 25th, you are going to completely drain that income account. In our case, we're going to bring it down to $1,000. And you're going to do a distribution to the 4 remaining accounts, or depending on how many you set up. They say to set up at least the OPEX, tax, and profit. We went ahead and set up the tithe as well. So you're going to distribute accordingly. You need to figure out what your percentages need to be, and you figure that out through the book. We actually kind of went with a generic. We went with 90% for OPEX, and this isn't an ideal situation, right? Ideally, I would love to spend 40% on expenses and, the rest on profit. Like, that'd be awesome, right? But unfortunately, businesses most of the time are pretty expense heavy, okay? And that's not just my business, that's probably your business watching this as well, is we tend to spend a lot of money on expenses just because the money's there, right? That's Parkinson's law. So I have started my allocated distributions at 90% for OPEX and 2.5% for all of the remaining accounts. So that is currently what I have my distributions set up as. And as time goes on, we're going to raise and we're going to lower those accounts. We're going to work on lowering OPEX, which is operating expenses. We're going to work on raising things like tithe, things like profit, things like tax if we need it. So that will allow me. Oh, I forgot another one. So I earlier said we opened 5 accounts. There's actually 6 accounts. I'm sorry about that. So we have the income account, we have the OPEX account, we have the owner's draw account. That's very important because I need to pay myself. Owner's draw account, profit account, tax account, and tithe account. So that would be, we do 90% distribution from the income account to our OPEX account and 2.5% to the remaining, 4, right? So we have owner's draw, OPEX, tithe, tax, and profit. So I believe that's 5. Yeah. So that's basically how we are running Profit First in our business. It's not the most beautiful. The thing about it is that the way that they mention Profit First and to do it is just to start implementing something. He even recommends, if you're just starting out of this, open up a profit account. That's the only account. Just open up a profit account and start putting away 1% of every deposit into that profit account. Because at the end of the day, you don't want to get the paralysis of the analysis. And at the end of the day, you just want to start. You want to start doing something. You want to start seeing some fruit of your labor. Because for instance, right, if your business can run off of $1,000, it can probably run off $999. Like, most likely that $1, that 1% you take into profit is not going to sink your business most of the time, right? You're going to figure out a different way to do it. So that's really the whole premise, is it's a mindset thing, is to try and figure out how to run your business on less. Not pay your people less, not take a less profit, not pay the taxes less because you have to pay those or you get arrested, but how can you run your business on less so that you can take home more, so that you can pay your employees more, so that you can live a better life. So I'm pretty excited. Again, it's January right now. I will report back to you guys throughout the year of how Profit First is going. I would absolutely love to hear some of your guys' stories of how you've implemented Profit First in your business, whether you have a handyman business, a construction business, a painting business, whatever it is, I would love to hear it. Drop me a comment in the comment section below, and we'll catch you guys on the next video.